For more information on COVID-19, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Let's take care of ourselves and each other.
And what's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm the one and only Hypertension, joined by the man with the unbearable amount of knowledge. It is Cubby. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Hypertension, I appreciate the intro. I'm really excited to cast UCL with you. Should be a really good match we have here today between Risen Esports and Prophecy. Prophecy starting off on the blue side, but they've played some common teams already in the UCL. And, we expect Risen to be, have the advantage going into this one. But Prophecy, they've taken a game already. They have some upset potential. We're going to have to see what happens.
Yeah, but as you said, they have already actually played similar teams here, because what we have is Risen beat Meme City. Meme City beat Final Boss, and Final Boss beat Prophecy. So it very much is a situation where everybody's beating everybody, but through the transitive property, Risen should have the advantage here over Prophecy.
Yeah, if you can follow along kind of the breadcrumb trail that Hyper laid out for us, Risen should be at the advantage. They are sitting 2-0 in this league. Obviously, they're going to want to make that 3-0, but we're going to have to see if they can pull it off. That's why we play the games. Excited to hop into pick bands, see what these teams are going to bring to the table tonight, and hopefully we have a great night of League of Legends ahead of us.
Absolutely. And looking at it here, there are two main matchups I want to cover. There's the one in the jungle between Jim Cantor and Faz the Magi, and then in the support role between Keen and Admiral Potato. But again, I know a couple of these risky guys. So Jim Cantor is probably the best Ivern in North America.
Yeah. It's funny because like hopping into the lobby, I recognize that name instantly. He is a very strong jungler, really good on those supportive junglers, notably Ivern. Going up against Fast the Magi, I believe that is a sub coming in for Prophecy today. So might be a bit of a different kind of angle coming out from them. Maybe he brings a little bit more to the table, whether it's comms or different champion pool. But I'm excited, as a support main myself. Admiral Potato against Keen. We've got a GM support going up against a high elo master tier support as well. Be really fun to watch these bot lanes duke it out tonight.
It absolutely will. And I am so excited to see this game going, because again, I have so much history with like Risen as an organization. So this is the first time I've actually got to cast this team for them. So I'm loving this opportunity here. And as we are about to get into the draft, we talked about before how like Jim Cantor is one of the best Iverns in North America. Do you think that will be a primary target?
See, like a lot of times in these games, teams are playing best of threes. They don't really have time to prep for the other team, and so they just kind of ban out strategies they don't want to face. Right? We don't see a lot of Ivern today. I wouldn't be surprised if he made his way onto the ban list just for these games coming on out here. But I'm more curious to see, is Red Side going to pay the Varus tax? Are they going to pay the Graves tax coming on out? Because those are champions that are so strong in the current meta across all elos, it seems like. And if you're Red Side, you really have to ban them out or have a good game plan to go against them.
You absolutely do. And as we are just waiting for the teams to ready up here, are there any picks that you think like are overwhelmingly meta at the moment? I know that there's a bunch of discussion around Graves being just overwhelmingly oppressive. In the mid lane, there hasn't really been anybody lately who's received like super amounts of level. Like I know Varus is premier in the bottom lane right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you bring that up. Right now, we're seeing pretty much every single Red Side team ban away Varus, ban away Graves. And it opens up this kind of interesting thing for Blue Side because Orange Set is still a trade you can make, but a lot of those champions still find the ban list. And if you take out Graves, it brings Trundle up to a top tier jungler. So if you're Red Side, you're kind of faced with, do I ban Ornn? Do I let him through? Or do I ban Trundle? We haven't even mentioned Syndra, who's very strong first pick on Blue Side because of all the flexibility and how many winning lanes she can create in the mid lane as well. So it's really, I feel like Red Side's kind of in a bind in this meta when it comes to bans because they do have to pay that tax. And so far, we don't see that coming out because we actually have Trundle and Graves being taken away by Prophecy.
Yes, you do, as we are now into the draft here at the Upsurge Contenders League. It is Risen and Prophecy Gaming. Once again, it is Prophecy on the blue side, Risen on the red. And as you said, Trundle, Graves, Talia, Rumble, two of those picks I have. I hate that North America normally does not give Rumble enough respect. For how much I cast Chinese League, I see Rumble all the time on the ban list, and he's so powerful, so underrated.
Yeah, it's really funny you bring that up actually, because like there are a few champions that we've been seeing a lot in, the scouting ground circuit. And two champions that we don't see enough of is Rumble and Gragas. Very, very strong champions at their own role. And, one team, probably an S tier team right now in SGC, actually one of the only teams where Five Fire, if you pick Syndra, he will pick Rumble into you, and they've won every single one of those games. And it's really good to see teams like playing that because they can also flex at top. Rodolph has played it as well. So funny to actually see it on the ban this year. Might be something, Prophecy, that might play it at multiple roles. If we're getting really crazy, CLT Phoenix is also put in the bot lane with Disconnector. So Rumble, one of those picks, those mid-game team fights, when he lays out that red carpet, it's really tough to deal with.
Yep, and that is going to be a Soraka lock-in for Risen Esports. Knowing these players, I'm guessing that is actually going to be a Soraka in the bottom lane.
Ooh, so like
the AD carry role.
Supporter. Oh, AD. Okay, so AD's Soraka, good old ambulance coming on out, taking that farm. She's really tough to move out of lane, and she's also really difficult to dive. With the slow, she brings that extra sustain, and also not to mention the silence, which can also root. So we've seen Soraka trying to find play. We've seen her in the top lane. We've seen her in the bot lane. We've seen her as a pure support. And that's a flex they can probably hold for the rest of the draft too, especially considering the fact that Wukong could possibly go into 3 lanes.
Absolutely, but I do think that he will be in the top lane. It is not only is it like a most natural position here, but also it gives you that opportunity to establish a lane kingdom if you do it just right. Whereas in the jungle, I think that their picks will be a little bit different. Set, however, is one of those matchups that actually does really well into Wukong.
Yes, Set does very well in the Wukong. Prophecy also still holding some flex picks. You can move Set around, notably to support. We've also seen a few teams play him at jungle. We'll have to see if Fast the Magi is going to get really crazy and put him there. But I expect to see him top lane into that Wukong. He feels really good. You build Bork into Bork, which, make sure that you can sustain through a lot of the harass that you face when you're going up against Wukong. But I'm more interested in the fact that they're going to also turn the lights off when they take this Nocturne into the jungle. Very aggressive jungle pick coming out from Prophecy, and they're already saying that they really want to dive this Soraka.
Yeah, and looking at this composition for the side of Prophecy, that is actually a lot of all-in that you have. You have the Set there with the Showstopper. You have the Nocturne with that Paranoia. You have Syndra, who can apply that massive range stun. And now on the flip side, you have 2 supported champions here. We've got Jim Kent Ivern, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Hypertension, you laid that one out for us, and look what has happened. He doesn't find his way on the ban list, and instead he makes his way to the pick list here for Risen Esports. I'm excited to see the Vern in this game. Always a really fun champion to watch. And, you got to think, if you're Prophecy, start banning out these huge AD carries. Like, maybe you want to take away the Kog'Maw. You already have the Aphelios off the table. Maybe you even want to take away a Vayne. Whatever AD carry Risen decides to run with, it's going to be well supported. So really curious to see what Prophecy decides to take away.
Yeah, it will be interesting here as 2 of the spins are actually already out. We do see Maokai and Mordekaiser, Eminem there in the bot lane, and another M in Misfortune here. Looks like Prophecy do not agree with me that is a Soraka in the AD carry role, just because I've seen that more often recently. I have not seen Soraka as much as a traditional support. I've seen her paired with playmaking supports to support a team with the side lanes and make sure that is just a safe lane for you.
Yeah, very safe lane indeed. I'm curious to see the Xayah taken away. Just the fact that, usually you pair Xayah with Rakan, and right now Soraka seems to be in that bot lane role, whether it's AD or support. So yeah, gonna have to see what Risen. I fully expect them to either take their AD or support here, so they can, hide their mid laner. They could counter the Syndra, which actually they end up going with. So we do have Galio coming into the mid lane, a mid laner that can go up against Syndra, lane okay, but also is gonna make this Wukong very threatening into the mid game when you combine that hero's entrance with Wukong's ultimate.
Yeah, and I think what the side of Risen are doing is they do know that the Syndra is already there. It was the first pick on the side of Prophecy, so they do know they have that guaranteed counter pick. But they're saving that last pick so that way one of their 2 bottom laners can have an advantage. And no, actually, that's now a Syndra bottom lane. That is an Ornn mid and a Set and a Syndra in the bottom lane, or a Set support.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to see
on the
round it out. Yeah, I've also heard rumblings of Syndra support. I'm just throwing that one out there if we're going to get real crazy here.
That's just bad.
Hypertension's not a fan of that one.
No, I'm not a fan of that one because of the fact that there's nothing that she will do that Brand can't do. It's a support role. It's like
That
you would much rather play Brand, you would much rather play Karma. Okay, so conclusively, that is actually a set support, that is a Syndra mid lane,
yeah.
and that is a Callista AD carry because of the fact like that is the famous Callista set lane.
Yeah.
And that's actually terrible for Soraka.
It is terrible for Soraka, and I really like what Prophecy Gaming's doing here. I feel like with that Nocturne pick, they laid out a clear plan to attack the Soraka, and look at all these long-range tools they have to engage. They have a Nocturne ultimate to turn off the lights. They have the Ornhorn coming on through. Now you have a Callista,
Wait,
which can get set involved, and with an Echo coming in, things are about to get really crazy here for the side of
that's a
Risen.
Galio support. Echo mid, Soraka and Galio like in the bottom lane.
Oh man, well, Hypertension, you introduced me as the man with all the knowledge, and I gotta say, Risen Esports has absolutely thrown me for a loop with this pick ban. You called it with Soraka bot at the start. I thought it was gonna be Galio mid, but with that Echo pick, we're gonna have to see what Risen decides to do with these lanes. But with 3 melee laners coming on in, you have to think that Risen wants to play aggressive early with his Ivern coming out of the jungle.
Oh, absolutely. The thing is that they spike so hard into the mid game that you have to play aggressive. I mean, you have the Wukong, you have the Galio, you have Echo. That's so much tower pressure that you could do, and that's a 3-man stack that they just need to set off while the other two split push.
Yeah, and that's going to be something that Risen is going to need to work on, right? If Echo and Wukong are going to be these solo laners, what can Ivern do to get them ahead? I also love the combo that they're running with Ivern, because Ivern is so good with melee champions, because when you land that root, you all get to dash straight to that target. So combining that with a Galio taunt or getting Echo in range to proc his stun, get closer to engage on a carry. Risen has some potential to have some really cool engage combos, and I'm really curious to see with such a skilled Ivern player in Jim Cantori, how they're able to work as a team to find some of these creative engages that you really can't see with any other champion.
Yeah, and I think my favorite part about this is actually not the engage potential of Risen, but the counter engage potential. That's one thing that like a lot of people say it's like, oh, we have to draft so much engage our competition. When you see a Nocturne in the first 3 picks, and you see set 2, that's a situation where, wait, we can just play this counter engage. Because based on the triangle theory, as I almost draw a square in the air, you have the Ivern that can deny engage. You have the Galio that can have that knock up, the shield, deny engage, as well as his taunt. You have Soraka with her silence and the wish. Wukong has the self-cast knock-up. There's so many tools here for the side of Risen to be excellent on a counter engage when it comes to those mid-game 5v5s. The thing is they just can't let it go late because they will be out DPS with the lack of a traditional AD carry.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, Hyper, and I like the fact that you bring that up. The issue is like you got me like thinking about drawing. Like, what if we did drew word art? We could throw it up before pick ban. All right, here's what the fight's gonna do. All Microsoft have a wonder scenario. What is going on in this game? But yeah, that's a great point. I've been talking about how you can combine Hero's Entrance with Wukong going invulnerable or invisible to find those engages, but the counter engages, right? When you have a Nocturne, a set diving onto your Soraka, Hero's Entrance is a great tool to peel them off the rest of your team. So we're gonna have to really watch, how Keen's able to play this Galio, and how good his ultimates are, because he has a lot of potential to make a big difference in this game, whether it's engaging or disengaging these fights.
Yes, it will. And I am overall so excited to see what these teams are going to execute in this situation, because as I've already established, it is actually Soraka in the bottom lane and a Galio in the support role, not the inverse. We're not seeing the fasting Senna situation where the Tom Kench is farming the whole time. Though I have seen fasting Galio and it does work to an extent. This is not one of those. Again, I just see such a clock for Risen Esports. Again, Prophecy's late game is ridiculous. It has so much bulk, it's got so much engage, so much DPS. Risen's, they have to hit the ground running, or else they're going to trip, faceplant, and just cut their face up with gravel.
Yeah, and I really like the storyline that you're laying out here already. And I also like the fact that, Risen, they do have some tools to try and get that early lead, right? Galio has that semi-global pressure coming out, not to mention the fact they have a Wukong into an Ornn and an Echo into a Syndra, 2 really good solo lane matchups for Risen Esports. So if they can crack this game open early and set up that 1-3-1, really spread out the map, they may be able to dodge out on team fights and take structures if they get those strong side laners rolling. So really curious to see where Jim Cantori goes early, if he's able to get the right lanes ahead in those solo lanes, and if Risen can really start snowballing this one, because once Ornn gets past level level 12, each level is an extra 1k gold going over to your team when he upgrades those ornaments. So it's really up to Risen to set the pace and make sure this game goes fast.
Absolutely is. And with that in mind, what do you think will be the pivotal situation here? Because like when I'm looking at this, I feel like it's going to be how these junglers impact the early laning phase.
Yeah, junglers impacting the early laning phase is going to be important. I'm really curious to see if Ivern, like where he goes, because due to his route and the fact that you can dash towards it, he actually gets a lot of gank assist out of his laners, right? All of a sudden, Echo becomes pretty threatening because you can instantly land that slow. Or Galio, you can instantly get in range for that taunt. Fully expect him to focus on those solo lanes, right? Soraka, not going to bring a whole lot of damage when you go down there for a gank. You're just going to get CC'd, for a long time, but you're not going to take a ton of damage from those 3 members. So fully expect him to get involved early, try and get that Wukong going, try and get that Echo going in the mid lane. And I really want to see him take an early Rift Herald, right? Because if it can break one of those side lane turrets and start putting your Echo in the side lane, that's when Risen Esports are really going to hit their stride.
Absolutely. As I said, as we talked about earlier, that split push is so incredibly powerful for the side of Risen Esports. I don't see Prophecy being able to match it if they if they lose the early game too difficult. But now that we are almost heading into spectator delay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a few moments for a break. But before that, we're going to give you a short word here from our sponsors at Sector 6.
Started with a vision of quality, a vision of uniformity. We took the time to create something familiar yet refreshing, something with a bit of change.
Designed to fit any brand's unique vision.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back here at the Upsurge Contenders League. It is Hypertension, it is Cubby, and it is time. We are on to Summoner's Rift. For these teams going up against each other. Blue side, it is Prophecy Gaming. Red side, it is Risen Esports. On the blue side for Prophecy, King Jeebus in the top lane, Fast the Magi in the jungle, Broncos super fan, go Ravens, baby, in the mid lane, Collinator at AD carry, and Admirable Potato at support.
The red side, we've got Barlow taking that Wukong into the top lane, Jim Cantori on his notorious Ivern, Baboom on the Echo, Danny Cute Body on the Soraka, and Keen taking that Galio in the bot lane. And for me, all eyes really go to Risen Esports with this early game, right? We talked about how they have to get the pace going. They have the very unique comp that doesn't scale as well. They've got to get this game rolling, and I'm really looking at Jim Cantori and how he interacts with these solo laners. You can have some crazy jungle paths with Ivern early. Curious to see how he starts this game off.
Yeah, and this is one of those picks where it's like, Ivern is a little bit of a difficult champion to like get the hang of because he doesn't play like other junglers. But then you look at a guy like Jim Cantor here, he's one of the best Iverns in North America. Like obviously, it's like people say, it's like, oh, Tyler won. T1's a better player, a better Ivern. I think it's still Jim there. And I'm so excited to see like what pathing routes he takes, the way that he does these buffs, just because of like how unique you can play it with Ivern.
That's something that, really benefits Jim Cantori, having the experience with the Ivern, because it's not a champion that you're used to practicing against or going up against. So usually when you pick these pocket picks, you have that experience advantage. You know what paths are best. And, we see Jim Cantori prepping those camps on his top side. He has prepped his red and his raptors. Now he's going to go smite his blue, keep on trying to, free these camps from, being on the rift. He's not killing the camps, just freeing them.
Yeah, again, freeing them, because Ivern is the Green Father. He's the guy who is the nature-loving hippie, but could still probably kill you by having you get stampeded over. Ivern's actually kind of terrifying in the lore.
Kind of terrifying in the war. That's where I leave all the lore to you, Hyper. So I'm glad that you're on top of that. I'm gonna be learning throughout the stream as you teach the rest of us. But so far, we see that early lead in the top lane for Wukong, and actually really curious to see Jim Cantor base here on pick up an early Darkseal along with the sweeper. So this tells me that now he's going to start going for camps, but he will be spotted out when he goes to take that Gromp, because that is warded out by the side or by the blue side.
So yeah, it absolutely is. And with that, actually, the bottom lane, I actually want to talk about something that we forgot to cover. That Galio was actually emerged as a support counter to support Set, because Set pulls pulls the enemy thing in, but then all you do is you do this, you taunt.
Yeah, get pulled in to eat the taunt. And, you can see Collinator, he does have that cleanse, because he knows that, going up against that Galio taunt, you need a way to get out of that before QSS. So opting for the cleanse instead of the heal in this matchup. And we do have Jim Cantor making an appearance, but he's countered by the Nocturne in the bot lane.
Yes, he is, but at the same time, everybody's probably just going to be able to get out fairly easily here. No one was in near range to really close that, but it will put the bottom lane of Risen on notice and show that they cannot push this up.
Yeah, they can't push it out. It was honestly a really good appearance coming in from Fast the Magi, because where the lane is Set might be going down.
Such a mistake! First blood over to the side of Risen. Potato was way too far up.
Way too far up. And you mentioned the Galio counter into the Set, but also the Soraka. If she gets the silence down in the Set, he can't utilize that shield. It's exactly what happened on that dive. His Admirable Potato caught off guard early.
And again, we literally just talked about it, how it is that counter. It is the pull-in, how Set wants to be aggressive, and Galio counters that. But again, that's got to put the bottom lane of the side of Prophecy on notice, because now they know that they are immortal. They can be killed in lane.
Yeah, and shying away from this bottom side, props to actually Prophecy as a whole, as the bottom side keeps on fighting.
Yes, it does. Keen, once again, taking a lot of damage for his efforts, dealing a lot back to both Potato and Collinator. But overall, I think Prophecy got the better of that trade.
Got the better of that trade, but Danny Cute Body will be able to heal up the Galio. What I was going to give props to Prophecy for was actually the fact that they've managed to track Jim Cantor on for the last couple minutes of the game. He showed up bot. Nocturne was there for the counter. He was just spotted out on a ward by Ornn in the top lane when his wave was crashing. So took away the ability for Jim Cantor to make a play in the top lane there. So well played as Set flashes in.
Seth flashes in, but that's going to be the damage
Ooh.
down onto Collinator. Danny Q body is still alive. Potato is trying to go in. Here's Bronco Superfan. 2 more teleports coming in. 1 from each team. Barlow is here, as is King Jeebus. But that's a huge 3-man searing charge from that Ornn of King Jeebus. Now Bronco Superfan taking a lot of damage. The taunt does land from King Jeebus going in, but again, it is just going to end up being, I believe, a 2-for-1 in favor of Risen Esports.
2 for 1 in favor of Risen. Notably, that top lane is going to crash into Prophecy's tower, so a lot more golden experience is going to be missed out here by King Jeebus. Overall, a win on the map for Risen, especially taking away that Ornn TP, really forces the rest of Prophecy to play in these favorable solo lanes for the next few minutes of the game. So Echo, now that he has that level 6, should start to get the shove advantage in the mid lane. Wukong, making that successful teleport, bringing back some items. His haven't sustained yet, but should start to get an experience lead in that top side. This is a really good start for Risen Esports.
Yeah, I say it was said already how pivotal this early game is for them, and they are winning it significantly. They're up 600 gold right now, but they have the kill advantage, and they have it in the right places. This bottom lane was your one losing part, and now it's up 2 kills.
Up 2 kills. A nice play coming in. I love how fast those TPs came in from each team. They knew that a play was going on down there. Shows that these teams are really gelling early. So far, though, the one bright spot coming in here for Prophecy is the fact that Nocturne is outpacing this Ivern. And Ivern, besides that bot lane play, hasn't been able to have a significant early game impact. So Nocturne should be looking to make a play at 6, as he loves to do. And he's already sitting here in the bot lane.
Yeah, here we go. That's going to be the paranoia. I didn't think that he'd have it already. Level 6 is in, but so is that brush. That's going to be a kill onto Danny Cute Body. The brush didn't matter. The early level 6 from Fast and Magi saved his bottom lane and ended the life of Danny Cute Body.
Yeah, well done by Fast the Magi, hitting level 6 in about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Very fast as a jungler. Cashes in on that first Nocturne ultimate. That's why you pick the champion. You want to have those first few ultimates be very impactful on the map. And not only is he going to turn that into a kill on the Soraka, they're also going to try and turn that into an early dragon with the pressure they have in the mid lane as well.
Absolutely are. And it is going to be that Mountain Drake. So that is going to just give you a little bit of early game resistances that will scale a little bit better. But that leaves open Cloud, Infernal, or Ocean. Now it's just Cloud and Ocean Souls that are going to be up. Can you imagine either of these teams getting Cloud Soul?
Man, Cloud Soul would be really fun watching Galio just try and rush into the team after Hero's entrance, or Wukong as well. Yeah, one of the weaker souls overall, but very game dependent. And having those melee solo laners, I think Cloud Soul would really benefit the side of Phoenix Rising. But we got a long way to go until that.
In my opinion, I actually think Cloud Soul is the most disrespected thing in all of League of Legends because of the fact that yes, the soul itself is bad, but the process getting there is the single most powerful dragon setup in my opinion. I feel like 3 Cloud Drakes, I would take that over any other 3 Drake setup.
Yeah, I like how you say disrespected, and hey, it could really allow for Echo and Wukong to play incredibly aggressive in these side lanes if they are able to get that. But hey, we still don't know if that's going to be the soul on the map right now. What we're focused on is the Rift Herald, as we actually have Set and Callista making that swap, and Galio and Soraka trying to answer here. So this might be a contested objective, and an early fight I think would really benefit the side of Risen Esports. If they're grouped with a Soraka, she can play that role of ambulance so well and really allow Wukong and Echo to play aggressive.
Yes, you can. And now, again, as you said, Rift Herald is going to be taken low here. Probably going to be taken over by the side of Risen Esports. But it looks like, okay, Prophecy, they were thinking about it, but decided not to pull the trigger on any sort of contests there.
Yeah, they're not going to pull the trigger. And honestly, that's okay coming out from Prophecy, right? They realize what Risen's win conditions are. They realize that they don't quite have that Nocturne ultimate up yet, as it just came off cooldown. So they're going to show some restraint, which I love to see from an amateur team.
Yes, they are. And this is going to be nice. The taunt isn't going to really land on anybody. But again, both these teams, they're showing that neither one of them is willing to back down. Not yet.
No one's willing to back down. Now, the one thing that I am a little bit worried about for the side of Risen is that this Soraka is behind. We expect her to be behind in terms of CS, but it's gotten to the point where there's some concern being down 25 CS and nearly a level 2, as she is going to pick up these waves safely into the Ornn, but he might be able to get a plate or two in this bot lane, and King Jeebus can start to get rolling on this Ornn and get a little bit too tanky for a low damage team to kill. That could be a big problem for Risen Esports as the game moves on.
It absolutely could. And on the flip side, though, if you look at just where the state of the game is, there are those even in the solo in the solo lanes. That's not good for Risen. They need to have one of those snowballing.
They need to have one of the snowball lanes, and I'm very surprised they're putting the Soraka in the bot lane. At this point, I think you want to move that Soraka mid, right? Get Echo in the side lane. He's so comfortable playing those long lanes with the fact that you can get out with so many tools. And putting Soraka down there kind of puts her in a tough spot where she's just going to get shoved in. And if Jim Cantor doesn't make an appearance, they might lose that tower early.
They just might indeed. Looks like he is going to be on the bottom side, though, so he could very well make the rotation over. The vision is solid for the side of Risen. They've got well, now it's about to be 2 control wards, but Jim Cantor is backing here.
Yeah, Jim Cantor is backing. We're somewhat in a lull state with both of our monster objectives already taken off the map and claimed by the side of Risen. The start that they really needed, considering the fact that they did take this early game aggressive comp, and things are going okay for them. The fact that Barlow's been able to pick up that Bilgewater Cutlass in the top lane means that he's much more comfortable trading into King Jeebus, should be able to shove that advantage. We have a Proto Belt coming on Echo, gives him a lot more threat in the mid lane against the Syndra, and I'm really curious to see where Jim Cantor goes, because if he attacks one of these lanes at the right time, it could really help break it open for the rest of his team.
Absolutely could. And now that it will be a Rift Herald summoned into the mid lane. It is going to be 2 members here. It will get the charge off and a couple plates, but I don't think they'll even come close to taking that mid lane tower.
Yeah, not going to take down that mid lane turret, but some plates going over to Echo is good. That mid lane turret's going to be one of the harder turrets for the side of Risen to break, considering that it is a melee solo laner going into a Syndra, and the fact they want to rotate Soraka there later into the game. So I like the fact that they dropped it there, but now it's going to be all eyes on this Infernal Dragon that's spawning in 40 seconds, and so far Risen has early control of the river.
That they do. That dragon is spawning here in the next 30 seconds. And it is going to be that Infernal Drake, which again, it can very much benefit their mid-game spike due to how much that Infernal Drake can really pay dividends over the long run. Is now in the mid lane, some fighting, but again, Baboom knows better than to do it. Oh, will we see the Chrono Break? Okay, no.
No Chrono Break needed, as Admiral Potato is giving him a bit of a scare with that Predator on the Omni Stone. Notable that actually Prophecy, they had a late reset there, which really helped ensure that Risen has total control of this river, and I love that Wukong's basing right now. He's going to start to look for a teleport, and they should start up this dragon right now.
Yeah, and here you go. Even if you Chrono Break right now, this is actually a bad spot, but here comes the Galio with the knock-up. The Spell Shield will block it onto that Nocturne. That's going to be a great taunt coming in. The knocks up, and the kills are coming in for the side of Risen Esports. That's 2 dead already, and now they're going to have firm control of the Dragon Pit. King Jeebus, you're going to about to be seeing Jeebus because you're a dead man. That's 3 over to the side of Risen and an Infernal Drake.
I love the proactivity coming out from Risen. They knew that they could use this dragon to really force a fight, and that teleport coming in from Barlow was beautiful. The engage, they went on the Echo. He was able to get out. Galio with the right ultimate coming in at the right time, followed up by Wukong. Very well played by Risen, and I love also how they focus down their targets appropriately. They're running a rather low damage composition, and they have to make sure they pick the right targets. They did so there. They turned that into a dragon. That's exactly what they need for this early game, as they're going to try and knock down some of these towers now with this advantage they have.
Yes, they are. And as the Echo picks up the blue buff, this is actually one of the points in the game where he's probably at his most dangerous. He has level 10. He's just that little bit away from that sweet spot you want. Because that is when Chrono Break's damage just goes into the next level. Plus he has his Proto Belt, and he's got a couple stacks on his Dark Seal. He's just in that point where things get freaky.
Things get freaky as looks like Barlow might sneak out of here. He might turn this one.
Yes, he might turn this one indeed, but we'll have to see. And he got up for a second. The question is, will he actually be able to go any further? He's gonna see. What can he do? He got the kill in the 1v3, a shutdown by King Jeebus, but still Barlow picking up that kill.
What a beast turning that play around. I mean, not only does he cash out for a kill there in a 1v3, but he also takes away Nocturne's ult for no gain. Another fight in the mid lane.
Another fight in the mid lane. Collinator trying to put down as much damage as he can, but that Callista takes time to apply those Ren stacks.
Yeah, Callista is going to find some damage. Having her in the mid lane, they really shouldn't look to break the game through the mid lane with Kalista there against the Soraka, right? They need to get this Echo and Wukong rolling in the side lanes, as I really want to see Echo get to this long lane, and I'm curious to see what Baboom decides to go with next. I want to see him go Lichbane, because you talked about how Echo's really strong on a Proto Belt. If he goes Proto Belt Lichbane, he is so incredibly deadly, especially in the 1v1, and with all the protection he's going to get from Ivern and Soraka, I really want to see Baboom go for that really fast, aggressive build.
Yeah, and we're starting to see Baboom. He's heading back towards the mid lane, unfortunately. As we said, we want to see him in the top lane or in one of these side lanes in general.
Mhm.
Whereas Barlow is in the bottom lane. He's got free reign on this bottom tower for a solid bit. If they're not careful with the attack speed buff from Nimbus Strike, he could easily just take this tower down before they even get the Rift Herald.
He could take the tower, but we do have a grouped up Prophecy taking that Rift Herald. I'm curious to see if Risen Esports wants to force the issue. It looks like they're thinking about it instead of rotating mid. If they could knock down that mid turret, that might be an okay trade considering how many resources the side of Prophecy is putting into getting this Rift Herald.
Yeah, and again, they're gonna lose the mid tower, so that is Rift Herald for first brick. I would actually give that advantage to Risen because
Yeah.
of how much that opens up the map, especially when you actually took 2 towers, one of them being first tower, off of that trade.
Yeah, and I love what a lot of analysts have been talking about lately is what is the opportunity cost of taking Rift Herald? And I think we just saw it there, right? You throw 5 members to take that objective, but I like the fact that Risen, they said, you know what? They have 5 there. Let's make sure that we knock down this mid tower, which is going to be pretty difficult, to break a Syndra or a Kalista. And we're also going to get Wukong that solo gold in the bot lane as well. So I love the fact that they spread out the map and they're really playing towards their win conditions by doing that. Now they have the Wukong and the Echo in the side lane. It's a great setup coming out from Risen.
Absolutely is. And as you said, they're in the side lanes. You've got the Wukong and Echo, and they're starting to accumulate those leads. You have 2 kills on the Wukong. You have that kill advantage on the Echo. As you said, he's starting to build into those like full AP items. He's going to back here. Does he buy the Sheen? Yes, he does. It's Lichbane Echo.
Let's go. Love to see the aggressiveness coming out from Baboom. It's such a deadly lane. And especially, we've talked about the 1-3-1 spreading out the map. If you can get Barlow in a side lane against this Ornn right now, once he gets that Black Cleaver, that's really where Barlow's at the sweet spot of the damage of this matchup. He can take this 1v1 against Jeebus, and I like the fact that Fast the Magi is actually hovering bot, because this is a solution to break the 1-3-1, right? Have someone shadow one of these side lanes, and I like the fact that Nocturne's down there. I want to see if he pulls the trigger with the ultimate.
Yeah, but that is Barlow. He is easily the slipperiest member of the of the Risen Esports squad. So now King Jeebus is actually alone against both Barlow and Jim Cantor. It's going to be engaged on the other side. That taunt does not quite come through yet. Keen has the flash. He does flash over the wall. Is he going to Justice Punch out? The Fate's Call comes through, puts Potato right in his face. The healing from the Soraka saves his life. Here comes Barlow on the backside.
Barlow.
Fast the Magi is dead. And now Jeebus once again in heaven because he's a dead man as well. The Admirable Potato is about to be the dead Potato as Collinator. See
Barlow.
you later, Alligator. That's 4 kills for the side of Risen Esports. Bronco Superfan, the only one to run away with his life.
Yeah, and this is what we like to call a bulldoze comp coming out from the side of Risen Esports. If they find that first kill, there's no way that you can take down another one of their members with all the defensive tools they have on their side. It showed there as they were able to pick the members off one by one. A beautiful disengage coming out from Danny Cutebody and Keen, and a great re-engage coming out from Barlow. These ultimates from Keen have been so spot on for these engages. Putting them in the bind like that in the jungle was such an incredible choke. Like there was nothing that the side of Prophecy could do. So really well played coming out from Risen. They secure that dragon, and they have a very commanding lead now on the map.
Yeah, and I feel like none of that would have happened if they hadn't over chased there. Like they were so hard in onto Keen that they forgot Jim Cantor and Barlow were right behind them with their front line on the other side of the fight from where Barlow and Jim Cantor coming from. So you literally just left Bronco Cosplay Superfan and then Fast the Magi to just sit there and take it.
No, you're 100% correct. And this is where it gets really, really scary for the side of Prophecy, right? Because we have that 2-item Wukong that can really threaten the Ornn. We have the Echo who's 1 base away from acquiring that Lichbane. And guess what? If you decide to attack either of those solo laners, you have to do it through a Soraka heal from wherever she is on the map as well. So if they weren't slippery enough in the first place, having that extra health pool to play with, it's going to be really tough for Prophecy to try and break this 1-3-1. And it should really be Risen just pushing down these turrets. They don't even need to start Baron. They can just take these turrets in the side lane one by one so they push far enough in the map where they get Baron for free.
Yeah, and this I believe a lot of this can also help on hinge on these
Here we go.
dragon fights here, because here we go. That's going to be the Soraka going in. I don't think he's quite going to survive. It's actually Danny Cubani manages to survive. That's the Magi. That was he bit off more than he could Q, and now Admirable Potato is going to be the one paying for the mistakes of his jungler. That's the showstopper, Haymaker, but he's about to be a dead man as well. That's the Magi trying to run away. Barlow dancing around the fight. It's a 1-for-0 thus far. Daisy taking the tower shots. What a play there by the side of Risen to turn that around.
Oh, and I love how aggressive Barlow and Baboom are playing. They know that they have these defensive tools behind them, and that great stun coming out from Syndra. That's not going to stop the tower from going down, but with all these aggressive tools that they can play with, they're playing so far up and really trusting in their teammates to make sure these plays happen.
Yes, they are. And look at that. Barlow is taking so much advantage of that new clone. The way how it like actually mimics a Wukong now instead of just standing there looking like an obvious fake. He is using that to such good effect because every single time Prophecy are biting on the clone.
Fighting on the clone. And I think the really big issue is the fact that, Fast the Magi on this Nocturne, he's 0-3-2. He couldn't even 1v1 a Soraka in the mid lane with all the extra healing that she has coming on down. This Nocturne is way too far behind this game. It's going to be impossible for him to get in. I think they really need King Jeebus and an Ornhorn to try and isolate the Soraka before they go in with this Nocturne ultimate. He needs some help to take down the Soraka.
I feel like Fast the Magi right now secretly is just going like, Vedia Senpai, forgive me.
Why didn't I put this mid?
It's like, yeah, why didn't I put this mid? Because like right now, Bronco Superman. I mean, when you're at 0-0-0, the joke is that you've done nothing. But that's, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but it feels like he's been a non-factor in this game. His stuns have been just like kind of okay, but now he could actually see that first death. Oh, that's cute. That's the Bramble Roots going down. Boom, boom. Bronco super fan.
That's that Witchbane Echo coming in big, and I love the combo that they're pulling off with the Ivern. Man, Risen Esports, it's a really creative comp they've pulled out, and it really feels like they've handcuffed Prophecy. Like, what can Prophecy do on the map right now? They have absolutely no control, and Risen is really driving this lead home in a pretty clean manner.
Yeah, and part of this composition, if you are the side of Prophecy, is you had to win bottom lane. You could not let that go because you did lose mid and top. You had to get the Kalista ahead because she's so strong in pretty much all stages of the game, but particularly the mid game when she's starting to stack up those Ren stacks with those attack speed items. You can't. You lost bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it's the fact that like there were a few waves where Soraka was just in a side lane against an Ornn on their own. Like, where was the Nocturne then? They were able to put. Oh my goodness.
Bye.
Okay. Yeah, no time for color casting. We're just gonna get more kills with Baboom's Lichbane Echo as he's still going in.
Yes, he is. Fast the Magi, Fast the Retreater right now. It's just full other way from the side of Risen. Risen are rising to the occasion and showing why they are undefeated thus far. And exactly what we said by Transitive Property. Risen beats Meme City. Meme City beats Final Boss. Final Boss beats Prophecy. So therefore, Risen beats Prophecy.
And they're proving that right now. I love the fact that they showed some restraint there. They're gonna back off and take this dragon, but it looks like we have a Hail Mary coming in here from Prophecy as they're booking it to Baron.
They are booking it to Baron, but I believe they're actually in Vision.
They're starting it.
They're starting it.
It's the Hail Mary.
Oh my god, it is a Hail Mary. No one on the side of Risen knows this.
They don't know this. Barlow's not going to check. They just might sneak this Baron going straight out of the base. I mean, this is great taking it off the map. There's no way they were going to get this objective if they gave away the reset to Risen. The fact that they had the guts to go for this play and pull it off, props to Prophecy for doing something to try and get themselves back into this game.
Oh my, and the question mark pings coming out onto Barlow saying it's like, why didn't you check there? Man, that has to be a little bit of a tilter. But again, you are so far ahead as Risen that you shouldn't let this tilt you. The Baron minions don't actually do as much against Barlow, so as long as you keep him in a side lane, you should actually be able to continue pushing. Plus, they are down to their base.
Ooh, I wanted to see if Echo could almost one-shot Set there. He's so far ahead that he might be able to one-shot, a tanky member. Yeah, that Baron, I mean, the good part for Prophecy, Baron's going to delay the game. There's no way that, they get to take back the map, or there's no way that they're going to magically start winning team fights because of that Baron. But it does give them a few minutes to make sure that they're getting farm on the members of their team. And they do have that scaling advantage. So the fact they were able to secure that, take that away from Risen, I mean, that's about all they could do and ask for there. So props to them. As this game's going to pretty much stall out here for the next few minutes, as Prophecy, they're going to be able to farm safely.
And as you said, as it was going on, that was the Hail Mary. That was the play that had to happen if Prophecy had any hope remaining of staying in this game. And again, it worked. I can't believe it, but it worked.
That's maybe if maybe we just do something so stupid that it might just work, right? It's like one of those.
You, like, as a caster myself, whenever I'm playing games, I have this like sixth sense around Baron. It's like they're at Baron, and then they'll almost always be there.
Yeah, I just
like,
respect
a
it.
bunch of vision around there.
I just respect it too, right? Because like when you're in these positions as a team, and as a coach, I'd always tell my teams this: like if you guys are playing the early game comp and the game is lost, at least send it. Like, do not bleed out. At least try and do something drastic, and lose the game in style. And that's what Prophecy went for there. And guess what? It worked. They didn't lose the game. They tried to play their way back into it, and now they might actually be able to take this mid lane turret, and Keen might be caught out.
He might be caught out indeed, as that's going to be going right on top of Danny Cute Body. Showstopper. Keen takes a lot of damage. Jim Cantor is going low. He's going to be killed off for the first time this game.
Okay.
Cute Body goes low. Barlow is fighting on the bottom side, but now it's just a 1v4 here. And oh no, Admiral Potato. He gets taunted up underneath the tower, and there's still so many shots coming down that should be, no, Potato survives here. But Boom is here. He can close the escape. He can start to do it, and he does have the chrono shift. I was about to say, if he walks back that direction, that is a massive mistake.
That's a huge one fight coming out there for the side of Prophecy. The fact that Barlow wasn't there, he's been the one doing the majority of the damage in these fights, but Boom wasn't able to quite find the place to get in there. They managed to isolate the members of Risen, take away those defensive tools first, and get themselves a 3-for-0 with a clean tower dive, mind you not. As they're behind, they're trying to play their way back into this one. A 6k gold deficit going up against a Soraka. If you can take those tools away, it's not as big of a lead as you think it is.
Yeah, it absolutely is not. And again, they knew that Barlow was on the other side. They knew that Baboom was on the wrong side of the situation because of their vision in that river. And that line dividing the map in two on that lower side of the map there, right around where the river is, that was key because they knew that two carries were nowhere nearby.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and that's another approach, I guess, to breaking the 1-3-1 is breaking the 3. So Prophecy able to do it safely there. Still, that said, the fact that they won that team fight doesn't really change the map state. It does give them some more control, though, over this dragon that's spawning in less than a minute, and this is sole point for the side of Risen Esports. So we're going to have to see if Prophecy can maintain this control over the river and possibly get a pick before the dragon spawns.
Yes, but I do have some unfortunate things to tell you, my friend. Jim Cantor's book is basically useless.
Uh-oh.
Here we go, though. That's a lot of damage, a lot of lockdown. Right onto Keen, who's taking a lot there, but here comes the heal. Danny Cute Body takes a chunk. Baboon is there, but look on the backside. Magi's already dead. The fear will save his life. And now Pollinator, he wants some of that monkey, but he doesn't realize that Barlow's got the damage. King Jeebus going in onto Barlow, but here comes the rest of Risen. Boom coming in. Will he be able to get anything off on the side? Lots of damage down. He has the chrono break, uses it to get out. Barlow goes back in, but currently it doesn't seem like there's really any way for anybody to get anything. Oh no, Boom's on the backside, blows a Bronco superfan. That Admirable Potato trying to lay chase, but he's not going to be able to chase down the Echo.
Yeah, and with all those defensive tools, you can see they can just keep going. And with that fight, they pretty much bullied their way into dragon control. And we're going to have Prophecy actually check this. They have low health bars, but they realize this is the sole point. They're going to try and go for it.
They're going to go for it. But again, the Galio actually does have the ultimate.
They have a ward.
That's the heroic entrance. They have a ward. But again, the Galio has ultimate. If you go into the pit, you're just going to die. Here comes King Jeebus. There goes King Jeebus. No, he actually survives. Double taunt to go down. Fast the Magi's the one who dies. Admirable Potato. An admirable effort. But Keen should get the kill here in just a moment. No, they're going to get away. Wow.
Really well played. They really put the handcuffs on him. Once the dragon hit 2K, they realized that Nocturne was there. They actually stopped the dragon and started to use their tools to get over the wall, make sure that Nocturne couldn't get in the pit. They killed him before the dragon even dropped below 1.2K. So there was no chance that Prophecy was going to walk away with that Cloud Dragon, and that is Cloud's soul. And just wait to see how fast this Wukong goes when he casts his ultimate. If Barlow wasn't doing enough already.
Yes, so there we go. That's going to be the face breaker, but Admirable Potato taking way too much damage. Almost none done because of the wish from the Soraka. So much healing from that goat lady. And now Jeebus going to be taunted. No effect whatsoever from the Call of the Forge God. The side of Risen not going to press their luck.
Yeah, and honestly, the only thing that's keeping them going in is the
Oh,
mana bars are actually very low.
no. That was so bad there. You rush straight in. Now Fast the Magi.
He gets out.
How are they escaping with like 5 HP? I keep prepping it to say it's like, oh, they're gonna die, and then they escape.
Well, that's one way to use a stopwatch. Go in 1v5 and sneak out with 100 HP. We take those. Yeah, the health bars, they weren't going to be running out on the side of Risen Esports, but unfortunately the mana bars did run out. So they're going to have to spend all that hard-earned gold that they just got on the map. And they really should look to put the clamps on Baron. And that doesn't mean that they're going to start Baron, right? Because they do Baron very, very slowly with this team comp. What they want to do is try and get control over the pit and bait it. Can they take it away from Prophecy? Can they find some kills before they start this one up? That is what Risen are looking to do at this point in the game. We're going to have to see if they can execute upon it, as we do have Barlow and Baboom pushing out those side waves, still sticking towards their 1-3-1 win condition.
So one thing about that, Baron, you said it was very slow. It is also incredibly healthy.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, because of the Ivern and the Soraka, there's really not much opportunity for Baron Nashor to even really impact their health bars, point where it would influence the following fight. You're still going to be basically at full. You'll still have the wish. You'll still have all of the shields and the heals from those double supports. And again, this is a double support build. I haven't seen this kind of thing since the Ardent meta, but it's being done so effectively here and so well. But Boom coming from the backside, going straight on to Fast the Magi, who is fast to the grave. And now Admirable Potato trying to once again get Barlow, but there's no hope here. And that should be the big Baron Nashor for the side of Risen Esports.
Yeah, with the jungler down, there should be Baron going over. Fast the Magi getting a little bit too ambitious, trying to take control back. And that was a beautiful setup by Baboom and Barlow, just really putting the clamps down on that Nocturne. Beautiful stun landed by the Echo. That should win them the Baron, but it looks like a fight's still going to break out.
Yeah, it was a 3-man taunt there in that river. Now they're going all in onto Collinator, and he's going to be kiting back just a little bit more, but Barlow is too oppressive. He gets right in on top of them. Second Cyclone pops. So does Bronco Superfan. King Jeebus. Jeebus Christ, he's the last man alive. 1v5, surviving a while, but it's not going to matter, as that's going to be the side of Risen doing so much work, and now they're going to teleport into the base, see what they can get out of this here.
Yet, who needs an AD carry when you can just have Wukong going in with Hero's Entrance and an Ivern Shield? Barlow getting so much work done in that fight. There's no way they could peel him off the rest of the team, as Fast the Magi is going to make a nice donation here before this game ends.
Yeah, and I like the fact that not everyone from Risen chased the kill. Like, only 2 of them.
That's all they needed. And a great game one coming out from Risen. I mean, we talked about how with this comp, they needed to get off to a really fast pace. And hey, they did just that by pretty much negating that bot lane fight when both those teleports came in early from the top laners and snowballing from there, winning a couple dragon fights. And man, that's one of the scarier Wukongs I've seen with all the help he had from Ivern and Soraka.
Again, it was one of those things in the draft where if you execute your comp to perfection, the composition of Risen is actually terrifying. And what we saw there was it executed almost entirely to perfection in that game. We saw them funnel so many resources into the top and mid. 16 kills. 16 of the 23 kills went on to Barlow and Baboom. And by God, did they run with it. Also, equally, 16 kills participated in by Jim Cancer.
Yeah, Jim Cantor having himself a game on his Ivern. We're going to have to see if that gets taken away from him. And it's going to be really tricky, actually, for Prophecy because, we talked about paying that red side tax by getting rid of the Varus, getting rid of the Graves. They actually banned the Graves out on blue side. We expect them to ban the Varus out on red side. Do they take the Ivern away for the third ban and possibly let through some other picks that, they wouldn't have been able to get their hands on the blue side this game? So Gonna have to see what Prophecy ends up doing. But I believe that we're going to a quick break as we try and bring in that game 2 as fast as possible.
Yes, we are. And guys, we'll be right back here at the Upsurge Contenders League.
up with a slow motion crew, and we up in our cloudlands when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. was wrong, even want wasn't anything. Yeah, I could say that you didn't need any part of me. Yeah, maybe it's not me, you should be the one on your knees. So if we had another chance, I would never let you steal my if we had another chance, I would never let you steal my glance. Bring me back to life.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Upsurge Contenders League. It is Risen Esports versus Prophecy Gaming. Risen Esports took game one in a really one-sided affair. I am the one and only Hypertension, joined by the man himself, Cubby. My guy, talk to me about game one.
Game one, it felt like Prophecy's team was spending more time like in midair from all these knockups from Wukong and Galio coming in than they did on the ground, because those were some team fights that Risen was taking. They were not backing down, and Prophecy, they couldn't kill that Soraka when all those defensive tools got turned against them. Woo! It was a tough look for them. So really dominant victory coming out from Risen with a really interesting team comp. I mean, I don't think it's every day that we do see Soraka Galio bot just going off like that, but hey, that's what we saw in the last game, and we're going to have to see what kind of adaptations Prophecy make going into this draft, because they are on red side. They do have to pay that red side tax, but there are so many picks they don't want Risen to get their hands on from last game.
And the red side tax, I mean, I think you have to extend that to the Ivern here because of just how powerful. Again, I said it once, I'll say it again. Jim Cantor is one of the single best Ivern players in the Western Hemisphere. That is not an exaggeration. That is not me being biased. Statistically, he is. And we saw last game how much impact he had on the map. Just the little things he did, the good protection he provided. You cannot give that over again.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly apologize. I know I was saying Jim Cantori. I was getting him confused with the weatherman because all he was doing was making it rain, daisies and stuns across the rest of the map. But hey, Jim Cantor, his Ivern was really scary. And once again, like Prophecy, they're really going to be in a bind for this pick ban. I mean, between Varus, Graves, the really strong power picks, they banned away Trundle on the blue side last game. And then you have the picks that really gave you a problem in that game one. Wukong, Soraka, Ivern. Like, who do you want to take away and try and deny from Risen? And like what I would always do, ban away what beat me in the last game, right? We want to make sure that that doesn't beat us again, or unless you have a really good solution going into it too. So all eyes for me are on Prophecy. What kind of adaptations do they make going into this game?
Yeah, those adaptations will need to be extensive because, again, you cannot get clapped in this game because you're already at 1-1 in the standings. All right, Risen is at 2-0. They are potentially the best team in this group based on their schedule thus far. The only other team at 2-0 currently is Bethany Esports, and I believe they were the S-ranked team when the group draw happened here. So if Risen does have a 2-0, they have a strong case for being the best team in this division. If you are Prophecy, you have to contend with this if you want any chance of contending later down the line. Because also, that's the mental. If you drop this 2-0 again, twice the second week, mental starts to become a thing.
Yeah, and big difference, sitting at 2-1 versus 1-2. You want to have that winning record going into week 3. Prophecy, they're already making some adaptations, taking away what beat them last game, with that Soraka and Ivern already finding their way onto the ban list.
Absolutely are. We said it before, and there it is. Soraka, Ivern, those are the 2, but that will leave up someone powerful. It could be the Echo, there could be the Wukong, there could be the Varus, there could be the Graves. All of those things. I don't really see Graves as like a massive gym cancer champion because again, he is like Mr. Ivern, but
right.
I don't think it's outside of his wheelhouse, but we won't have to know because Prophecy will ban it anyway, leaving up that Varus for Danny Q Body if he wants it, and they're gonna insta-lock it.
Of all the picks to not pay the tax on, I'm surprised it's Varus, because Varus, playing against the Lethality Varus, like, if you didn't have fun playing against Soraka in the bot lane last game, you're going to have that much fun and even less when you're going up against Varus in the bot lane. He's so oppressive with this Lethality builds. He hits those items so fast, and he's already such a lane-dominant champion, even when he wasn't going for the lane-dominant build. So,
yeah,
Varus, he's going to be on Danny Cute Body. Different champion for him this game, but still a very strong pick, and that's a fast answer coming in there with a Jinx.
Now, this bottom lane, if this is... Okay, so it says that... okay, so that first pick is actually the set.
Okay. That makes a little bit more sense. I was like, that Jinx blind pick, like, Prophecy is just given... They're showing their entire hand already, right? But it is going to be the set. They're going to follow it up with a different champion here. But yeah, set could be a really good answer into the Varus, and I like the fact they're picking the Rakan, setting up for a Xayah pick. That's a lane that can pressure this poke Varus early.
Yeah, it will be able to. As you said, Rakan very good at closing the gap. So as a Varus now, you kind of have to draft someone protective. For the love of God, don't draft Tahm Kench. I'm tired of seeing Varus Tahm Kench so much, because at this point, I feel like Tahm Kench is used these days in compositions as nothing more than a oops R80 carry a goof button.
Yeah. No, and I like the point you bring up, Tahm Kench. We saw that lane pairing ran when it was really this on-hit Varus, right? You're going Bork, you're going Rage Blade in the Wit's End, and it's great having that get out of jail free card. With Poke Varus, though, you're playing at such a further range back that we've actually seen a lot of other support pairings coming out, as we do have the Malachi and Cassiopeia picked up, so Risen actually opting not to grab a support there, so I'm expecting some support bans to get thrown at them in the ban phase here by Prophecy. But picking Malachi and Cassiopeia, that gives you a rock in the top lane and someone in the mid lane who, if you're able to close the gap and get in range, can do a ton of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And Xayah Rakan, fantastic in the bottom lane. You got the set in the top lane. You've got, let's say, on the flip side, set into Maokai. I know this is going to be a little bit controversial. I actually favor the Maokai because I think he's the strongest tank in the game at the moment.
Ooh, okay.
So
you don't like the free 5k gold that Orin gives your team?
I do like that, but I'm talking about... Well, okay, let me rephrase what I'm saying, because I guess he's the best laning tank in the game right now.
Yeah.
I feel like he's definitely the best early to mid-game tank, and the Ornn, in general, is the best late-game tank. Hands down, there is no debate. But when it comes time for that mid-game fighting style, you cannot really beat the Nature's Grasp and the Twisted Advance on top of the Bramble Smash to just displace people. There's so much crowd control while also having so much sustained from his healing auto attacks.
Yeah, so I'm surprised going through the rest of this pick ban. I'm surprised that Prophecy took away Trundle. They could have really safely grabbed that one up right now, and it would have fit their team comp rather nicely. It always feels really good kiting back on Xayah, because then when you rip those feathers back, more people are caught in all the damage that those do. So, I'm surprised they're not going to go with the Trundle. Instead, they're going to take another kite back champion in the mid lane, Victor. I love Victor in the Cassiopeia. Very strong mid lane matchup, and I'm curious if Risen has a little bit of cheese up their sleeve. Maybe they throw that Maokai as support and get a little, try and throw the Cassio top and get a good matchup into the Victor, and that might actually be what they do here with that Echo.
Oh my god, they're doing it. Yes. Okay. So with the Olaf, oh my god, this team is so good in the early and mid game.
Okay.
Oh wow. So I don't know about you. Have you played against a Maokai support lately?
I've only seen Maokai support when it's paired with Senna, so like the Maokai farms up. But hey, with Maokai support, you can pretty much engage at any time with that Twisted Advance, and I believe if you stand close enough to Rakan, you might be able to cancel his W with Maokai's Q if you land the knockup part, and it's going to be
Yeah.
Zac jungle. Ooh, okay.
So in response to that, like also another thing about this Zac is it's incredibly the Maokai can disrupt the Zac elastic slingshot. It's just very split second timing, incredibly difficult to do, honestly. But looking at the two compositions, I do actually like how Risen did pull the red herring again. I had this like sinking feeling. It's like Maokai in a set is a good matchup in terms of like if you're gonna pick a tank, you prefer Maokai. But I've got just the sinking feeling that that's a support and that they just pulled the wool over our eyes, because that matchup actually prevents Rakan from hiding in the bush and setting up those long range grand entrances.
It does, yeah. And, we're going to see Baboom on his Echo again in another favorable matchup when you're able to pressure that Victor, get some help from especially a winning jungle matchup, Olaf into Zac. It's really going to ensure that Baboom should be able to play up in that lane and play very aggressively into the Victor. And mid prio with an Olaf, once again, it's going to be all on Risen Esports. How can they snowball the game early? And I do like what Prophecy's answered with, right? They have some answers for this poke Varus. You can engage on poke Varus with a Zac, with how far away he can engage. They can try and kite back these fights, but if Risen's able to land that poke before a fight starts, it's going to be really tough for Prophecy to win in the mid game, because Xayah and Victor need a lot of time and items in order to really hit their stride.
Yes, they do. But the thing I'm still looking at, you said about like how Xayah and Victor take time to hit their stride. On the flip side, Risen doesn't. Risen needs 2 items each.
Yeah.
And they're popping off. Like Olaf, you can even say he just needs 1 item. But especially in this top lane, people don't realize how bad this lane actually is for set. Because your whole thing is about you are getting in close. And you're trying to like use the showstopper on people. If this matchup had happened before the miasma change for Cassiopeia, this would be a set favored matchup all the way. But because of the miasma change, this matchup sucks for set.
And it's really good to see one of these teams, having the guts to pull out one of these hard counters, because Set's been in the meta for so long, and we've really seen, the counters going into them, like just taking the Ornn and being okay with losing the matchup to give your team some more gold and some more team fight presence. We've seen Aatrox taken to try and contest him early. We've seen Renekton to try and beat him early. But none of those melee picks really work, but if you play these range picks into them, like I know people having a lot of success playing Ryze with Phase Rush into set, and I assume there's going to be a Cassiopeia with Phase Rush as well. She should just be able to run circles around this set and make sure that she stays at the comfortable range where, 500 range, that's a lot of range going into a Victor and a Xayah, but in that isolated lane, really should have the ability to beat up on this set and make sure that he's able to land a lot of harass in that range versus melee matchup.
Yeah, people don't realize the sheer amount of oppression that an early game Cassiopeia can provide. Nobody remembers it until they get pointed at that one faker clip of him basically going, taking a LeBlanc from 100 to 0 at level 1. And I believe that LeBlanc was West Door, so it's not like it's some scrub.
Yeah. West Door on Assassins is rather terrifying. And it's really interesting, like how much early lane dominance can come out. And it's not only going to be from that Cassiopeia, it's going to be from that Varus as well into the Xayah, right? Rakan and Xayah, you can somewhat pressure the Varus early, but it's really tough to find those engages. And once Varus is able to get some points in that arrow, he wins those trades, and he's going to poke you out of the lane. So really going to be tricky for Colinator to make sure that he's able to sidestep enough those piercing arrows to stay in the lane, or it's going to be on Admirable Potato to make sure he's landing enough Qs to sustain Xayah back up.
Absolutely. And looking at it here, what do you think is going to be the most pivotal lane in this game? Because, again, I feel like, once again, it's going to be the bottom lane here. I feel like if that Xayah and Rakan start to snowball, they can take over a little bit because of their flexibility as a unit. But if Varus gets snowballing...
Yeah, that's true. The one that I'm really interested in is actually going to be Barlow in that top lane, because if you're able to get the Cassiopeia behind, she is pretty much useless, in the top lane. Whereas if Set gets behind, still can bring a lot of tools to a team fight and to the table. So if Barlow can really drive home that winning matchup and put Set in an early grave, or put him down 50 CS, that could really be the focal point for Risen Esports and where they play this game through. And especially, thinking about last game and how terrifying his Wukong was, I want to see him go off again this game and see if he can really drive home this counter matchup.
Yeah, the question, will he be stone cold stunning with those petrifying gazes, or will he just be a poison to his team and let them down when it matters most?
love the Stone Cold Steve Austin reference right there. That's always appreciated. Always appreciated. But yeah,
Absolutely.
we're gonna have to see.
There's the wrestler across from her.
Huh?
There's the wrestler across from her. Gotta make a wrestling reference.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Set, wants to take those fists into the cage. Cassiopeia, not so much. She's gonna like to stay out of range. And speaking of that, something that you pointed out in the last game, Bronco Superfan played very well on the Syndra, was trying to land those stuns, was trying to play his team into the game, and seemed kind of like the rock that Prophecy would have had to build any sort of comeback on. On the Victor, he needs more time to scale, but if he's able to hit those items and those breakpoints, he's going to really hit hard in these fights. So I'm curious to see how Baboom and Jim Cantor play around that mid lane as well. Can they put him behind? Can they really force Victor to just be on wave clear duty? Or does Bronco Superfan get ahead? And is he able to, get out of his lane and try and help this Zach make some plays?
Absolutely. But guys, we're going to go into game very shortly. But first up, we're going to have a little bit of a word from our sponsors here at Kono Keyboards. If you're looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals. From keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more, our friends at Kono have got you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. Kono have been huge supporters here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. If you need a new keyboard, check out the Hexgears X1 RGB low profile Bluetooth mechanical keyboard. It's honestly great. You can use the discount code UpsurgeGG, that's a capital U and capital GG, for 7% off your first order. For more information, head over to kono.store to check out all they have to offer. That's KONO.store. Kono, discover amazing products. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you on Summoner's Rift in just a minute for Game 2. To Summoner's Rift, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 2 between Risen Esports and Prophecy Esports. Sorry about that. It is not Prophecy. It is Prophecy Esports. It was wrong on the sheet. Not our fault.
Prophecy Esports it is. And these guys are going to take to the Rift. I'm curious to see if any scouting is done early. Might be really helpful for either jungler to get an early ward down, considering, how fast Olaf can snowball a jungle matchup. So if he's able to find Zach, or Zach's able to find out where he starts, could provide a lot of safety, and it looks like they're going to meet in that top side of the map.
Yeah, and that's one thing we didn't actually talk about as much in the draft phase, is that this is an Olaf. This is a super impressive
Yep.
early game jungler against very late scaling lanes in this Victor and the Zaya of Bronco Superfan and Collinator. If he goes there, he will be able to apply so much pressure and create such an impact.
Yeah, could absolutely create a big impact. And I'm really interested to see what Jim Cantor does in the first 5 levels of the game, because Zach doesn't really get rolling until he gets that Cinderhawk item, gets some more levels in that Elastic Slingshot, so he has all that engage range and damage that he brings to the table. But I do like the fact Faz the Magi swapping out for that sweeper, making sure to get rid of that ward. Going to give himself some more protection, and looks like we might get a little bit cheesy with these lanes, as it looks like King Jeebus is heading into the mid lane.
King Jeebus heading into the mid lane, indeed, because they want to avoid that matchup. The Victor into Cassiopeia is so much better. Same with like Echo, same with Set versus Echo, than the inverse.
Yeah, I like this move coming out from the side of Prophecy. Feel like it's a much better lane matchup for them, but it also puts a big target on the back of both the Cassiopeia and the Victor, because, the reason we usually see these champions mid, they don't like to be in a long lane this early. So look for Olaf and Zach to try and get involved there early.
Yeah, and that's going to be some ignite and engaging down onto Danny Cute body. Not really sure why Keen's playing this lane so passively.
Yeah, very passive start to the lane. It's tough level 1 because Maokai, he can do a lot of damage with those saplings, but that doesn't really give you a lot of control over the fights. And you can see there, Admiral Potato finding a very nice knockup on the Danny Cute body, managing to get his early flash out too. So, Varus, he didn't start Corrupting Potion as well, and actually has lethal tempo. So I'm really disappointed that it's not Poke Varus. I really feel like Poke Varus is much better this game.
Yeah, in this game, with the squishiness of the Victor, of the Zaya, and of the Rakan, I do agree with you there that the lethality Varus could have actually done very well this game. I think that they're more inclined in this situation, saying, okay, we can take this late, and if we go lethality, we won't be able to.
Yeah, I'm really bummed it's not lethality. Like, they can go late, but just thinking about, like, the context of what the rest of their team wants to do, they want to really force the issue at that 1-2 item spike. And if you go lethality Varus, you're at 2.5 items when everyone else is at 1.5, because how cheap those lethality items are. So anyway, that's not the call that Danny Cute Body's gonna make for this game. Can't fix that. So gonna be the on-hit Varus coming on through. And yeah, gonna have to see how the rest of the team really plays around that in fights.
Yeah, now, however, we could both be trolling, and it's like, and he just baits us into thinking that he is going on hit Varus, when in reality, he just chose lethal tempo to throw everyone off. I have seen Varus players do that, where they took lethal tempo, but they built lethality.
That's interesting.
It was very interesting. They won that game, actually.
Yeah. The other giveaway that I usually see is, you go Corrupting Pot on Poke Varus in the mid lane. That is not the case here. So that's really what tells me, as Zach going to make an appearance here already in the bot lane.
Yes, he is. There is a flash available for Keen, but again, there was not enough closing from Admirable Potato and Collinator to really make that worth it.
Yeah, we see this trading keep on going down in the mid lane, and Bamboo, he's running out of mana. So this is where King Jeebus can kind of hit his stride, try and get himself a good base. With Baboom being out of mana, might be able to force the wave in his favor here for this mid lane, but we have Olaf collapsing on the Victor in the top lane.
Yes, we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be the Gravity Field down. So much damage on a Bronco Superfan. That's going to be the flash.
Oh, no.
The Undertow was not thrown.
No, Barlow ran out of mana as well. I think they were trying to gift that one over to Barlow. He didn't have enough mana to cast his E, so a flash burned. They got Victor's flash as well, but that's pretty much for nothing. He's going to be able to TP back to this lane, make sure he gets the majority of that farm and XP. So a flubbed gank there in the top lane bodes well for the side of Prophecy.
Yes, it does. Again, like, if they had gotten that kill there, that would have been so pivotal at securing the lane for the Victor. Also, I disagree with the Echo going there. Yeah, okay, you should be roaming up top lane.
And Echo in a long lane, he has a lot of safety, and I think that they're actually going to try and swap these lanes back as well. So you can see Set already following. We might get some lane shenanigans in this mid part of the game as both teams try to find the optimal setup into these solo lanes. And, that could also be an opportunity for either team to sneak a dragon in there at some point as well. If they catch one of these solo laners rotating top, you can always just go take the dragon. So that's something that I really would look out for both of these teams to see if they try and make that aggressive move, especially the side of Risen with the Olaf.
Yeah, but look at where Admirable Potato is. He's in the face of Barlow, trying to set. Looked like he was trying to set up some sort of gank with Bronco Superfan, but he and Fast the Magi were just nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, nowhere to be seen, but still okay. Admiral Potato roaming into that mid lane, trying to secure some safety here for the victor as they're gonna go on to Barlow.
Yes, they are. As Fast the Magi have to run.
Whoa.
That's going to be a stun right there. They can't really get out of this. The Zat goes down. The stun lands. That's going to be the Petrifying Gaze, absolutely destroying, as will the Chrono Shift. Baboom does get the first blood onto Bronco Superfan.
Well played there by the side of Risen Esports, able to find that kill. It looked a little grim there because they got caught in the Victor stun and the glacial or the storm Victor storm, but able to turn that one around. And I love the focus coming out. Once they realized they were on the Zac, they immediately turned on the level 4 character, got him to proc his passive. Then they turned on the Victor. Really good team communication coming out here from Risen Esports. What we expect from the team that's already 2-0 in UCL, and that is also going to lead to them taking that first dragon of the game.
Yeah, so I think the biggest part about that fight was that split-second Petrifying Gaze that caught Bronco Superfan as he was turning around after the gravity field had been popped. Because if he could put down a Death Ray, that would have been a double kill for the Victor. But he got stunned, and he was not able to put down the DPS that he needed.
Yeah, and Baboom barely getting that ultimate off, but hey, it was all they needed for that fight. As both these bot lanes, I like the fact that Admiral Potato is actually playing so far up into this Maokai. Every single Q he lands is some extra health for Colinator and allows them to take some more trades. So really good play here from Admiral Potato, as they're doing pretty well in this lane, especially considering the fact that they got the counter pick. It's coming through and proving to be a good matchup for them so far.
Yeah, and then again, is there really a true counter matchup to Xayah Rakan? They're the bottom lane that is designed to synergize.
Yep.
Designed
to synergize. We're going to have to see here is we have 4 members from Risen, but they don't know that.
Yes, they do, and now it's going to be the parallel convergence on top, and that will be Fast the Magi and the entire side of Prophecy on bottom. That's going to easily be a couple plates. The Dragon's already dead. That could just be first brick.
Could be first brick, and man, Baboom coming up huge this game. That was a 3-man echo stun. Those are not easy to land. He also landed the 2-man stun in the mid lane that led to their first kill of the game. God, Risen Esports off to a fast start, and that is not what you want to see when you're staring down in Olaf, because he can snowball that lane and do so much with it out of the jungle.
You know who snowballs it even harder? That would be the Echo, who's already got his Hextech Revolver. Oh, he's going to make the tower ride. That's going to be the parallel convergence. Stun lands. That's a kill onto Bronco's Superfan. That ain't even fair, man.
Baboom with style, just dipping on out of there, manages to find Victor, showing off that level 7 emote. I think he deserved it with that play. Baboom, man, he has involved in every single one of his team's kills so far. Really, really good stuff coming out from the side of Risen Esports off the back of this Echo in the mid lane.
Yep, Travis, give that man a raise. But seriously, like, Baboom has just been all-encompassing in this game. Even when he was against the set, he was doing so well despite the disadvantageous matchup, which would have been in favor of the set. Now he's going to be starting to roam around the map. He's got the Hextech Proto Belt at less than 10 minutes. He's got 8 stacks on his Dark Seal. If he builds the book, that is going to be a hell of a read.
Yeah, it does have the option to potentially build that book, and hey, we're going to have to see how many stacks there are. That's always fun, keeping track of those, but where my eyes really go is that CS lead too in that top side of the map. It's starting to get significant, and we talked about what Barlow can do in this matchup. And while those fights are going on in the mid lane and the bot lane of the map, it's now Cassio and Set in isolation in the top lane, and Barlow's getting the best of it.
Barlow is getting the best of it, but again, we expected this with this matchup. This is a Cassio that has her tier and 2 amplifying tomes to only a Vamp. Why does he have a Vamp Scepter?
Yeah, I guess Set, does feel good with Bork. This might have been a good game for Triforce Set coming on in. But we'll have to see if he, we'll have to see if he opts for that 4-second item, as they're going to try and break this Cassio in the top lane. Nice play.
Nice play there, but Barlow still
Uh-oh.
going to take a lot of damage. Will he be able to survive long enough? No, he will not. Fast the Magi picks up the kill.
Okay, so 2 flashes burned in that top side of the map for a successful gank. Good play coming out here from Prophecy, realizing that this is a point of the map they can break, but
Here we
that's going to be punished
go.
immediately.
Olaf Ragnar rocking the house. That's an attack from Jim Cantor, but he's healing up so much because of
he's
these
got
Reaper
this.
strikes, and it doesn't look like he's gonna get the kill quite yet, but Fast the Magi trying to chase. Little does he know that
Boom's
there is a
coming.
man coming up, da-da, 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 and his name is Boom. He's your tomb, and that is a rampage for the mid laner of Risen Esports.
That Boom showing no mercy, shoving out that wave in the mid lane instantly and going top, recognizing the fact that he could pick up a kill off of that fight. Great play coming out from him, exactly what we expect. And a TP in the bot lane. Here comes Boom.
Yeah, there was the lockdown, massive amount of damage. Great showing of this Maokai Varus bottom lane by the side of Risen Esports, getting that kill onto Admirable Potato. And this is starting to snowball even worse than last game.
It's snowball even worse, and it's all off the back of Boom. He is everywhere on this map. He didn't find a kill there on the Xayah, but still manages to get out her flash. This is going to turn into plates, and when he goes back into this mid lane, they're going to have total control over this dragon, which is where their eyes are going to be next, but Victor's TPing into the bot lane.
Victor is TPing into the bot lane. Danicute body does take a lot of damage from that Chaos Storm. And in the top lane, Barlow taking a chunk
He's got this.
from King Jeebus, but he does have it, as we've said before. Never count out at Cassiopeia.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Cassio didn't opt for Phase Rush, especially, going into that Bork is going to be vulnerable to slows, but meanwhile, bot lane, I can't talk about top lane because Zach is looking for the dive. Woo!
Yeah, and, whoa, what a fancy feat. Oh my God, we need to meet, ladies and gentlemen, because that was some dancing shoes right there by the side of Risen Esports. Here we go, but Boom is down here. He is 1v4. He does not actually have the chrono break or any sort of escape tools. There was no flash, no teleport, no chrono break, nothing. This man has no fear. He doesn't care, but he's probably going to die for his efforts now. So much damage, but he's still alive. No, the Ignite! The Ignite will get him here.
Oh, Step Ignite coming out from Admirable Potato. Bronco Superfan gonna flash in and find that kill too. Man, that's honestly what Prophecy needed. They needed a play like that with Risen Esports overextending just a little bit. They got out with slivers of health bars, but they walk away with 2 kills. Hypertension, man. We're starting to see some individual plays coming out from both teams here.
Yes, we are, and now Keen, he sees Bronco Superfan. He wants some of the Victor, but again, it's like, this is a support Maokai who has a freaking... He's got a Glacial Shroud and an Aegis of the Legion, and he's trying to 1v1 the Victor with a tier 1 Hex Core.
Doesn't matter what you have in your pocket as long as you come in with a little bit of swagger. Might be able to convince him otherwise. He at least gets him off the wave. I like it.
Yeah, but honestly, this game has been incredibly fun to watch this far just because of the way the teams have been approaching this. Unfortunately for Prophecy Esports, they have been on the back foot, and they're going to keep being on the back foot because that's a dragon sneak here. The Olaf's going to get it first, and if Admirable Potato goes in here, he's a dead man.
Yeah, I actually really like what Risen's doing in this match. They're really just playing on this bot side and doing everything they can to make sure that that top lane's isolated. They're even giving blue buff over to Barlow on that Cassiopeia. She has this wave frozen, and King Jeebus has to base after that dragon's down. I mean, this lead in the top lane, Barlow taking this counter pick and really driving it home now that he has found this lane matchup in the top side.
That he has, and he's just going to split push with it. People underestimate the high-level split pushing capabilities of the Cassiopeia because of how quickly she clears a wave, and also the fact that like you're just charging up your tiers so quickly now because all you're doing is firing away at minions.
Yeah, and Barlow, he's gonna keep on driving home this lead. Like, this isn't a matchup that gets better over time, and they realize that, so they're going for this TP play in the bot side.
That's a great Nature's Grasp and a really good twisted advance. That's Chains of Corruption going down. King Jeebus Christ, that's actually a lot of damage onto Baboom, who gets baboomed right out of existence. But there goes King Jeebus. 1-for-1 trade in that bottom side.
Beautiful chain CC going down on Baboom, so he couldn't use that parallel convergence to get out of there. But that said, for all the resources they committed into this bot lane, they still walk out taking a loss. The only thing that really goes over to them is the fact that Victor is able to get some pressure down in this mid lane. So the fact that, Risen's able to keep that an even trade, considering everything the Prophecy dumped into that play, big win for Risen still.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize that they had already taken both mid towers. When did I miss that?
Yeah, when the Rift Herald was dropped by Olaf and they got on that dragon, plays were going on around the map, they weren't able to deal with it. So, 3 towers knocked down, including both those mid lane inhibitors. Turrets. That's gonna be really tough for Fast the Magi on this Zac. It's gonna be really easy for the side of Risen Esports to get these wards down on Zac's camps and the awkward angles that Zac can take for engages that really breaks the map open for them through that mid lane.
Yeah, and it's even harder because most of those members of the side of Risen now have some way to counter your engage. Like, the Echo has the Chrono Shift. The Maokai will literally just protect the Varus with his life, especially with the Twisted Advance and the Bramble Smash, as well as Nature's Grasping any allies you have. So, and then, of course, you do have the Chains of Corruption, and then you have the Petrifying Gaze, all of which can be used to negate the Zac. How are you going to engage on this side of Risen Esports?
It's going to be really tough. This Rakan has to try his best to find angles, and I like what they're trying in this top side. They have snuck Zac into this top lane alcove. They might try and make a play, but little do they know, Baboom and Olaf are lying in wait. We're going to have to see if they still try and make this play. Zac's staying there behind him.
Yeah, staying there behind them, but boom,
no.
Get bottom lane beat down there. That is Collinator. See you later, my guy. Jim Canner on a killing spree. And in the bottom side, Showstopper. Will it be enough? Doesn't look like it. Barlow kills King Jeebus.
That's not a great sign when, you lose on both sides of the map at the same time. Usually shows that the game's going in one direction and Risen is dominating across the map. Really like how they're making sure that this Cassio is isolated in the side lane and just allowing Barlow to do work in this winning matchup. And props to Barlow who, took this matchup and has been driving it home. He's going to win this duel against Zac too.
Oh, he absolutely will. Even if this Zac does Cell Division, which I don't think he does. It's so dangerous here, especially with, look who's coming around the backside. Look at it. Here he comes. That's going to be the great white shark that is Baboom. Fast the Magi just saw it. It's like, oh crap, I've got to run.
Yeah, gonna try and make a donation over to only Barlow, but it looks like Echo's gonna be able to get in, so it gets a gift this kill over. They also get Zac's passive. Gonna give it over to Barlow so he can keep on driving this lead home in the top lane. And once again, well played by Baboom. I know he's dropped 2 times, but it still feels like he is the catalyst that keeps on driving this team forward this game.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I mean, 9 out of the 12 kills participated in, and here comes the teleport in. The Xayah is dead once again. Collinator is just being bullied relentlessly by the side of Risen Esports.
Yeah, and, these teleports coming in for these side lane turrets, Risen's just really driving this home lead as fast as they can. You don't expect to have this many towers down at this point in the game, and they are so accelerated. They can pretty much go wherever they want on this map. We have a 3-level lead on the Olaf in the jungle, and we've got Barlow being up a level, and bot lane, pretty even as well, but man, Jim Cantor and the rest of Risen, they've really started to make sure that this game is accelerating at the pace that they want to play at in the last few minutes.
It absolutely is. And last few minutes, we're assuming that'll end here soon, but Risen do have that near 10,000 gold lead. Magi is, I want to say, 2 levels behind everybody on the side of Prophecy. Is almost 2 levels behind him, but Boom can just come in and come out whenever he pleases.
Baboom trying to play aggressive. That parallel convergence, it's not the longest cooldown in the world. It is down, and they're trying to force Zac's smite out, which they do, which makes it a little bit safe for them to start dragging him. Interested they try and fight in a choke, but Boom throws his stun down.
Throws his stun down, catches Admirable Potato, but that's actually going to be the Petrifying Gaze landing onto King Jeebus. Everybody's in the backline, but right now, Risen looks super scattered here. This could be a one fight for the side of Prophecy Gaming, Prophecy Esports, but Barlow manages to get out. Collinator is so low. Piercing Arrow going to come through, gonna snipe him out. Called that a mile away. Bronco Superfan, last man alive once again, and it will be the Dragon and the fight going over to Risen Esports.
It looks like a decent start to the fight for Prophecy. They were able to land the charm and the knockup on Baboom, who didn't have that parallel convergence, and they were kiting back in a choke. That's exactly what you want to do with Victor and with the Xayah, but with this gold lead, it's just too hard for Prophecy to come on back to this game. They still end up dropping that, losing 4 members on their team. So, man, it's looking really tough for them. They're once again going to have to make a miracle play around this Baron if they still want to be in this game. It's going to be a lot harder this time because with an on-hit Varus, Baron is a real threat for Risen Esports.
Well, not just that, the Cassiopeia too. Between with Olaf, Varus, Cassiopeia, and Echo, that is one of the fastest Barons I think you could imagine in League of Legends. But also, I have some information for you fans here at home. We actually have an update from the Bethany Esports series. They are actually 1-1 at the moment. So that means that if Risen Esports win, they will take sole control of first place in the Mountain Division.
Okay, so we have implications across the entire league here with this game. Risen trying to drive this lead home, and it looks like they're going to be able to as Baboom finds King Jeebus.
Finds King Jeebus and chunks him down to half with one combo. That's not supposed to be like a squishy set, and he's still doing that.
No, he's looking real squishy going up against this accelerated Echo, who already has that Lichbane, 20 minutes into the game. And, Risen, they have taken their foot off the gas a little bit. I know that they just won a big fight at Dragon. They've been trying to get some control. They don't have all the control wards around Baron yet, but their eyes are starting to look there. As you can see, Maokai and Olaf making their way into that topside river. They're going to lay down this vision and once again try and lay down a trap. They really want to get Zac, but while we have that trap going on the top side, Barlow might get caught out.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be a good petrifying gaze. It lands right onto the Xayah, who immediately cleanses, though. So much damage still onto Collinator. You're going to get Barlow, but you're going to lose Baron.
They're going to lose Baron, so that's pretty tough there. Once again, they have to try and make those plays. I like the fact they're trying to attack Barlow in the solo lane. Cassiopeia can be attacked, but just with where the game's at right now, going to give up Baron and also going to give up Fast the Magi here, who a little bit overextended trying to, poke around the big purple worm.
Absolutely. Baron Paul Nasher went down too early for Magi to even get remotely close. He couldn't do the drive-by Zac, and as a result, he was the victim of a drive-by that was the Risen Esports composition.
Yeah, and Risen, with those kills they found on the Zac and that Baron buff, they already have taken and broken that inhibitor turret. They're going to try and break the inhibitor as well. I'm curious to see how aggressive they push.
Sorry, Chains of Corruption did land onto Bronco Superfan. He got chunked down to half. Inhibitor going low. See if they start up the fight here. That is going to be Parallel Convergence put down. No stun, though.
Yeah, I'd love to see Risen back off here because, as we saw, they utilized that Varus ultimate to try and secure that inhibitor, but they did drop some of their health bars, which, Bronco Superfan, he has his back being closer to his base, but like the reset coming out from Risen, they're going to spend what was in their coffers from that Baron. They should be well ahead in itemization, and honestly, they're looking to have this be the death push with this kind of lead. You have to think that they can at least fight under a turret or go for 3 inhibitors here with this Baron buff.
Absolutely can. I mean, that Baron buff, it still has about another minute and a half left on it. So there's still a significant amount of time to work with in this, especially when you have such a good team fighting composition as a on-hit Varus, Cassiopeia, and Echo. There are so many things that Risen Esports can do right now, and it's not even like the side of Prophecy Esports even outscales that hard.
Yeah. No, Prophecy, they do scale, but they scale at like the 3 item mark. And right now we're looking at 1.5 items on that Xayah, 2 items on Victor since he does have that completed Hex Core. And they aren't anywhere close to being strong enough to really take on this team. And they're staring down, 2-3 items in the face. It's a full item lead on Varus. And you can see how hard they're trying to force their advantage here is they don't really care about these turrets.
No, they don't. Danny Cubati is
good
the
engage.
target for the side of Prophecy, but Collinator's health bar is just almost gone. Looks like Barlow will be the first man to die, but that Cell Division popped by Risen Esports. Jungler for top laner, but that's so much more essential for the side of Prophecy. Now, Risen, they're on the hunt. They're running wild all over the side of Prophecy. I've got a prophecy for you. Unfortunately for you, you get 2-0'd. Risen Esports take the #1 seed in the Mountain Division.
Risen dominant performance coming out from them. Honestly, in both games, this one being done a little bit quicker. And I really want to highlight Baboom in both these matches on the Echo, really making it happen, especially this game. I mean, he was everywhere on the map. I think he was involved in the first 8 kills that they had, not to mention the style that he was doing it, shoving out his lane, going for roams, making TP plays. There was nothing this man couldn't do in the early game.
Yeah, and it wasn't, and I think the biggest thing about this is like these were both like 2 stompy games in which everyone on Risen were such great contributors. This is a team that flowed like a well-oiled machine. This is a
Yeah.
lot better than I expect coordination-wise out of a UPL. I say like more what I expect of like a mid-tier like QPL squad, not a UCL squad.
Yeah, no, they looked really sharp, and I like, the audacity that they have to take picks like the Cassiopeia, to take picks like the Soraka bot lane, and play them well and with style. So Risen, showing some flair with these wins as well. What we like to see out of these teams is it wasn't just a 2-0, but this is a statement win for the rest of the league, because with that, they're the top dogs and the team to beat now.
Yes, they are again 3-0 for Risen Esports. Bethany Esports can only get to 1 game point less than them because of their 1-1 status in their current game against against First Blood Paladins. So with that, again, for undisputed first place team, that'll be an exciting matchup when it happens. And I believe that takes place in 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. So we'll have to see that when it does come. That'll be an absolutely exciting matchup.
Yeah, that's one where you're going to have to tell me on that one. But hey, hopefully I get to cast that game too, because I had a lot of fun casting Risen. I mean, they play with flair, they play aggressive, they know one way to play the game, and that is fast and forward. So good win coming out from them today with that 2-0. And hey, if you're in the UCL, you might want to watch these VODs and kind of get an idea of what you're dealing with, because Risen came out and looked really strong.
Yeah, and the damage charts and all of the stats just say everything about how dominating this win was. But with that, on a closing point, I just want to see who you got here. Who is your MVP? Because of course here, I think I know who your MVP is, but I want to hear you say it.
Oh, okay? Honestly, I know that I was talking about Baboom a lot, but I've got to go with Barlow from that first game on the
Really?
Wukong. Yeah, and also just like the fact that he was isolated in that solo lane, took the counter matchup and won it so hard in this game, like game 2. I mean, the 4-4 Risen, they were winning across the map, but hey, Barlow was making it happen in that side lane, and he pretty much played AD carry with the help of an Ivern, with the help of a Soraka on a Wukong for that game 1. Really thought that his performance was dominant enough from that game 1 to give him the MVP. Baboom was a really close second for me, but I'm gonna go with Barlow with respects to what he did in game 1 in that Wukong.
I'm gonna go by the player that I think was the biggest difference maker in this game compared to their counterpart, and for me, that is Jim Cantor here. Because I
Okay.
think like the gap between him and Fast and Magi was the biggest out of any position in both of these games. We just saw
Yeah.
that Ivan providing such good defensive power and such key bramble seeds. I cannot remember the name of Ivan's Q for some reason at the moment, but those were so good on the Q, locking down people, just setting them up to be shut down and create those advantageous fights. And then in this one, that Olaf was everywhere. The dives were great. The only death he had was the one that won the game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
no,
something like I'm gonna pick Jim Cantor.
all right, I respect that. I always like watching Iverns, and you were right. His root callers were really on point in that first game, and it was fun to watch. Such a creative comp with Soraka and Ivern. Turning Wukong into just an absolute menace. And hey, you know what, Risen? They showed some flair today. And I know I keep on bringing this up, but they had some really unique picks and managed to take 2 dominant victories. So, like I said, I'm very impressed by their play. Fun team to watch too, with just the style they bring to the table.
Yeah, they were fun to watch, but unfortunately, we can watch no more, ladies and gentlemen, as that is going to be it for the end of our show tonight. Thank you for joining us here on the Upsurge Contenders League. Thank you to my co-caster Cubby for joining me on this. This was a hell of a lot of fun. Thank you to our producer Nightclaw here tonight. And guys, tune in tomorrow for some UML action. But in the meantime, that's it here for us. My name is Hypertension. Goodbye and good night.